Anyone who comes up here and knows what it means to wear the shirt, plays for the team and gives their all, we will just love you. I used to go with my dad and my brother. It just went off in the city when Keegan joined the club, so I just got completely sucked in at that point. I remember when we got promoted from the old First Division in '93, my uncle took me and my brother into town for the open-top bus parade, and there was literally black and white shirts in trees, on rooftops, hanging off lampposts and traffic lights, just trying to get a view. And he just took everyone along on that journey with him. He was so infectious. There was like thousands turning up to watch the training sessions, and they'd just welcome everyone in. When I first started going to the game, it was still standing, and my dad used to take me and my brother into the family enclosure. We used to have to get there really early because you had to try and get a good spot. And my dad got this big bit of foam, which he brought from his work, and he used to bring it into the ground with him and put it on the barrier, and he would sit me on there. And it was really comfy for me. He'd sit me up on it, and I always look back on that now and think it was really sweet that he carried this bit of foam along with him. Me and my dad are thick as thieves now, and it definitely comes, a lot of it, I think, from a football bond. I think he's dead proud of the job I'm doing now, and partly because he feels a bit responsible for it. Him and Keegan, definitely responsible for it.
World class!
That whole period, there were so many heroes, the likes of Barry Venison. The fact he played for Sunderland and we loved him as much as he did says a lot about the way he played. Shearer, obviously, is a massive hero of mine. He's the GOAT, isn't he? Rob Lee used to give everything for the team. I still look at Rob Lee like he's a Geordie, even though he's a Cockney, and I still always just treat him as if he's a Northerner, because he understood what it meant, and he's definitely been adopted by us for what he gave the team.
It's Shearer for Newcastle! What a finish! The spree quite incredible.
Because we have been through such a bad period and stagnated for so long, it's just good that we have those characters back. We've got characters who know what it means to play for the shirt, who care about the team. You can see how committed they are, and given us something to celebrate now, because whenever I talked about Newcastle for so long, I would always hark back to those Keegan days, because that was when I was happiest watching the team. And now I feel like we've got this team to talk about and this team to be excited about, and they've given us something for the now.
The team that was staring down the barrel of relegation not that long ago will now mix it with Europe's elite.
It's massively important to have Geordies in the team, because they're just like us, really. They represent us. They're fans first and foremost, and you know that they know the tough times that the team has been through, and they don't want to go back there. They know how bad that was. And it's not just Geordies as well. We've got other players who have Newcastle connections, like Jacob Murphy. He's not a Geordie, but he's a fan. Lewis Hall, the same thing, who's come in. So it's having people who just understand what it means up here, I think. Eddie is, first and foremost, a brilliant coach. You can see the individual improvement in so many players since he come in. But I think he also understands how powerful this team can be, and that atmosphere can be when everyone's pulling in the same direction and everyone is together.
Gordon!
He's just a very calm presence. He's very level-headed, he never seems to get too high, never gets too low. Very meticulous, very measured, and we're like very emotional up here as a fan base, so I think we need someone like that, sort of in the middle, keeping calm, holding it all together and not getting carried away, because we will just go potty if you let us. Eddie, always good to see you. I see you're a proper Geordie now, not wearing a coat.
Not a coat, but I've got a couple of layers on, which is more than you have, I think.
It's chilly in here, it really is. You've obviously played and managed elsewhere. What makes this fan base unique?
I think their passion. Passion for the game, passion for the football club. It is unique. I don't see, or I've never experienced anything quite like this, where you have generational support. So you have in one family, you'll have a small kid, you'll have the adult, then you'll have the grandparents all go into the game together, and absolutely Newcastle through and through, and such loyalty and dedication to their club. For me, it's epitomised by what happens here at the training ground when you can't arrive without seeing supporters no matter what time you get here, and you can't leave without seeing supporters again no matter what time you leave. It's just, yeah, it's in the blood here.
What extra motivation and extra pressure does that put on you?
I knew very early when I arrived here the responsibility that comes with the job. You know that you're responsible for really the city's mood, and the football club's such a big part of it that you know that that responsibility, it's not underestimated by me or my coaching team.
Can you remember specific occasions where that 12th man has really got you over the line, or you've been stood there and you've really felt the power of the crowd?
Well, I think it's been most home games, to be honest. Of course, that's where you feel the full power of a crowd. I think the PSG game will always live long in my memory in terms of what we delivered, but it's not just what we delivered, it's what the crowd helped us deliver that day. I think right from minute one they were in the game, they were backing the players, and the players responded brilliantly. I think that was everyone coming together probably for as close as we could get to being at our best.
And the club has more resources now, but you've got that key group of homegrown players, but also players who've got local connections or are fans of the club. How important an aspect is that?
Yeah, I've always said we absolutely love our local players. We know how important they are to us and to the football club. I see every day what they give the club, and their love for the club is visible for me. You can see they are absolutely committed. If there's a reserve game, a 23s game, a women's game, they're usually there supporting just the club in general. So I think they've got a real affinity that goes very deep.
Sir John Hall once talked about wanting a team full of 11 Geordies. What do you think that would be like to manage?
I think it'd be great. From my perspective and my experience of managing Geordies to this point, I don't know in the modern game if that will happen, because of obviously there's a heavy influence of players now from all over the world, which has made the Premier League for me an amazing league. But we do want to bring more Geordies into the team. We do want to develop players here, and hopefully that's something we can do.
This is the biggest pinch me moment by a mile. It was really a dream, and to be able to have done that is something I'll never forget.
Brilliant strike, that is from Longstaff! But Longstaff
Sean, we're going to take you through some of your landmark moments in a Newcastle shirt. I was going to start by asking you when you started supporting Newcastle, but there you are in your little bib. You don't get much choice up here, do you?
No, definitely not. I think it's something that's sort of instilled into you, isn't it? As soon as you can sort of crawl or walk or do whatever, it's all Newcastle, and I was no different.
Although I'm not sure about the red baby grow. You're in full red and white there. That's not right.
I know, it's don't know what my mum was doing that day, but no, at least it's got a Newcastle bib on. That sort of saved it.
Was your whole family Newcastle fans? Was it just instilled in you from everyone?
Yeah, it was. It was my uncle's been a season ticket holder for probably 20 plus years, and my dad's dad, who I never got to meet, unfortunately, I think he sort of passed away when we were about that age, really, so I can't remember much of him, but he was obviously a massive Newcastle fan, and my dad says every day sort of how proud he would have been to have seen sort of that baby grow up and play for Newcastle. So yeah, massive family of Newcastle fans, and just like everyone from up here.
And let's go to the next step then, because this is you in the academy. So what, that would have been from age 9?
Yeah, joined when I was 8 or 9, and been lucky enough to sort of go all the way through, and yeah, I think it would have been about under 10s there. Scary thing is, it doesn't really feel like that long ago, but 26 now, and
it's not that long ago.
I know, to be fair, time flies though. I think we've said it a lot as a group actually, but playing then to playing now, it's sort of gone so fast, and yeah, just got to try and enjoy every minute. And
was there times when you thought maybe it wasn't going to happen, and then what were the moments where you thought, yes, I am going to make it here?
I still don't know if I feel like that now, to be honest, but at that age I remember being quite good until about 11, 12, 13, and then I remember I grew a lot, and when I started growing, it was like few tough years. I looked a bit like Bambi on ice skates, like couldn't get my legs and my feet and everything in, like all coordinated and stuff. But yeah, then got to 16 and sort of filled out a little bit, and yeah, it was. I never thought I was going to play for Newcastle. I think I was trying to just do as well as I could to maybe have a career away from Newcastle, because it's so hard to make it in the Premier League, isn't it? So. Probably
You've definitely grown a bit there. Anyway, let's move on to this one then, because you're actually playing against Newcastle here, which is weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. I went to Kilmarnock, and then they have a winter break in Scotland, and the winter break was back to Newcastle, so it was went to Kilmarnock for 3 days and then ended up back in Newcastle for a week. So it was actually worked out all right. I went with a couple of lads from Newcastle, obviously playing against Dan there, who's at Middlesbrough now. It was yeah, really strange coming back and playing against a team you were playing for the week before. But no, I loved it. I loved going to Kilmarnock. Like, they gave us a chance and they didn't have to. And yeah, I thank Lee Clark for that, and Lee McCulloch, who ended up taking over from him. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time up there.
Do you feel that really shaped you, that loan move? And how much of that was down to being with some of your mates up there?
Oh, it was massive. It was the first time I'd been away from family, and I remember before the first game, Friday night, I think it got like 6 o'clock, and I was just so used to my mum making like a pre-match meal for us, and I remember I sat there thinking, no one's making my food here, and I was like, what do I have? And I think Cal Roberts and Freddie Woodman like cooked something for her, and I said I'll clean up because I can't cook.
Can you remember what they cooked?
I think I just cooked some pasta, but I think I put some little smiley faces in the oven as well. That was my
your contribution.
That was my contribution.
I saw something Freddie said when you were playing in the Champions League, that you'd gone from your smelly little flat share together in Scotland to playing in the Champions League.
No, it was great though. Freddie was across the hall, and to be honest, there was me and Cal in one flat, and ours was a bit messy. We had a dartboard up, so there was holes in the wall of playing darts, and you went across the hall to Freddie's little apartment, and his was pristine, so clean.
He was
cooking all his food, and his was like everything was perfect, and ours was pots and pans everywhere. It was a bit of a shambles, but it's all sort of part of growing up, and yeah, if you didn't have them experiences, they sort of wouldn't shape you for the next sort of stages in life, really.
And those experiences led to this one, your debut. We've got your debut here in the Carabao Cup against Forest, then your Premier League debut. It's obviously a moment that you really dream about. How did the reality live up to how you dreamt it?
Yeah, those are the nights you'll sort of never forget. And yeah, it's funny, I think before I played against Forest, I was meant to go to Portsmouth on loan, I think like a week before, and we'd been on pre-season, came back, and I was ready to fly to Portsmouth, and the manager at the time was like, oh no, you have to stay one more week. And for me, I sort of, that was the best thing that had happened in my football career, just being able to stay with the first team for another week. And
did you just take it day by day?
Yeah,
at that
100%. It was, if I can stay around for another week, that's a bonus. And then I always thought I'd be going out on loan, and then next thing you know, sort of the season was starting, and they said you're going to stick around for the first half of the season. So I was just more excited than anything to be coming in every day, and lads that I'd watched on the telly and sort of been supporting the season before, to then be sat next to them and having a laugh and a joke or whatever. That was amazing, and like I said, it culminated in a debut at Forest.
Can you remember that first time sort of seeing your shirt hanging up and how that felt?
I can, and to be honest, it's something I remember. I've still got the photo on my phone. I never really take photos and stuff. I try to sort of be in the moment, but I thought for that one it was such a special time, I had to take a photo. So it's something, whether you're doing well or you're not doing so well, it's something I can look back on. And yeah, like I said, probably the proudest moment, or one of the proudest moments so far. The year before I was at Blackpool, and there was 3,000 people there, so you go from that to playing in full stadiums. It was just trying to sort of take everything in, but you're in awe of everything at the same time. It's hard to explain when you've wanted to do something your whole life, and then suddenly you're in the moment. It's just so surreal. I really can't explain it, but now, like I said, then to come on Boxing Day, I think it was, at Anfield.
It's not a bad game for your Premier League debut, is it?
It's unbelievable.
And you must have been doing pretty well. They've got 4 of them marking you.
I think it's just a good camera angle, really. But yeah, because the Forest game was really early on the season, and I had to wait till Boxing Day to play again. But I felt like I'd improved so much from that game to this game. Obviously, Rafa was the manager at the time, and just being able to work with him and his staff every day, they just taught us so much. And yeah, culminated in playing at Anfield Boxing Day. I remember sat having Christmas dinner. I still remember it now, whole family, and thinking, oh, I think I might have a chance to come on tomorrow.
Did you cut a few roast potatoes out and stuff?
No, I was more nervous than anything. I was trying to eat as much as possible. I need as much energy as possible. But I think luckily I say luckily for me, not for the team, they'd scored a few, and I think it was just a good chance to put me on and sort of sink or swim, and really enjoyed it, and just to be in that atmosphere. I think Liverpool were top of the league, so Anfield was bouncing, and definitely a night I'll never forget.
What does that mean to your family as well? Because it's obviously such a huge game, such a huge moment that they know you've waited for your whole life. I
would train sort of Tuesday, Thursday, my brother would train Monday, Wednesday, and my mum would drive with her every day while my dad was away playing ice hockey. And so I think for them it was more just all the hours that they put in to help us was worth it, because ultimately we got to where we wanted to be.
Let's just head round the other side there. We've got a few more nice ones to show you. So if we come round to this one, we've now got your first appearances and now your first goal, and this is in the FA Cup.
Yeah, just laughing, actually, just seeing sort of how young Murph looks, how young Matty Ritchie looks.
It's nice that they're in that picture with you and you're still playing together.
Really nice. Probably not known at the time, but sort of what was to come, especially Matty Ritchie. I've said in other interviews, he's probably been the one player since I've been here who's had the biggest influence on me, not just football-wise, but sort of off the pitch and helping us sort of with other stuff than football. So the fact that he was on the pitch for our first goal.
Is he a bit of a father figure, Matt, to you?
Yeah, he is.
He probably wouldn't like me saying that.
No, he doesn't think he's old enough.
Big brother.
But he is. Nah, I call him a father figure. But no, he really is. He wants what's best for me, and like I said, I always say to him every day just how thankful I am for everything he's done for us, and he just sort of laughs and gives a slap on the head. But it is true.
And then we've got your first Premier League goal, which just happens to be at St James's Park, which must have been perfect for you after how long you must have dreamt of that moment.
Yeah, it was. I think that was probably the culmination of everything in terms of the journey from the second photo through the academy, going out on loan, coming back and playing in the Premier League at home and scoring. Yeah, it's funny, I ran to the opposite corner, my family sat in the opposite corner, so I ran away from them, which was a bit stupid. But
yeah. How many members of your family did you have there that day? Can you remember?
I honestly, I can't remember, probably like 15, 20. But at the time, they probably didn't know how many times I'd played for Newcastle or if I would score at St James's Park again. So, yeah, I remember walking back the halfway line and the crowd was sort of singing my name, and it was probably one of the biggest highs I've had on a football pitch, and sort of one of the best buzzes I've had in life, really. And
did you have a little minute to yourself just to take it in?
I think I've said before, I think the next sort of 3-4 minutes after that, I sort of blacked out and wasn't thinking about the game, wasn't thinking about what was happening. I just remember sort of looking around and thinking, like, sort of want to cry in that moment, really.
Actually made you really emotional.
It does. It was a really, really special night.
And this next one, you playing with your brother now, not many people can say that they've done that. How special is that? Can you try and just describe it?
Yeah, it's for me that moment's like the best moment I'll have in football. Yeah, just to be able to play with him, and no matter what happens, I've done individually or whatever I've gone on to achieve, sort of since that photo, whenever someone's going to ask us, I'll always say that's my best moment in football. And quite emotional looking at it now, sort of seeing he sort of moved on. Obviously at the time you think you're going to do it for years together and you want to do it for years, but it's obviously not the case. And you sometimes feel a bit guilty as well as a big brother, sort of.
Why guilty?
Just because you've sort of done it together, and then sort of he moves on and you get to stay and experience everything. And I wish it was the other way around. I wish he was playing, but ultimately that's sort of what happens in life, and no matter what, I'll get to experience this moment with him. And I think we'll both say that'll be our best moment forever, to do it for him to score against Man United in his debut, Gallagher, and just a really special night. And like I said, one of the best moment I've ever had playing for Newcastle.
And that, as you said, is always going to be your best moment in a Newcastle
100%.
shirt. But this last one, it has to come pretty close, because this is the Champions League at St James's, massive win, you on the score sheet, the crowd going absolutely nuts. I mean, that can't have even been on your bucket list, can it?
I always say, if someone had said to me in that picture in a year or 2 years' time, you're going to be scoring in the Champions League against Paris and you're going to win 4-1 at home, I think I would have just laughed at you and said, there's just no chance.
I would have as well.
This is a night that in hopefully 25, 30 years, people are still going to be talking about, and obviously for me and Bernie to be playing in the game together and to score on the same night.
Did that make it even more special, the fact it was you and Dad? Seeing how proud you were to be from Newcastle?
Yeah, because I think he's probably had the same sort of idea in terms of, we never thought this would happen. It was just it was really a dream, and to be able to have done that is something I'll never forget, and it makes you want more, but if that's not the case, then yeah, it's an unbelievable memory to have. Well,
out of all of it, what would you say is the biggest pinch me moment?
Probably this is the biggest pinch me moment by a mile, just because people watch you play in that team probably and think, they're not good enough to play at this level, and then when you get the chance to play at that level, you can sort of prove a lot of people wrong, and that's probably been the most special part, not for me, or not just for me, but for the team as well, because it didn't end how we wanted it to, but it's easy to say because of injuries and stuff, but we truly believe that if we had a proper squad and a proper go at it, then we should have got out the group, and yeah, we need to use that experience now to help when we hopefully get back into competition, and yeah, something that we've got to strive for every day, because
just makes you want more.
Yeah, 100%. Those are the most special nights in football, definitely.
Sean, thank you very much for reminiscing with us. So that was great.
That's been nice. Thank you.